if our mouths were filled with song as the sea, and our tongues were filled with joyful song as its crashing waves, we could not sufficiently give thanks to thee. Even if our lips were filled with acclamation like the expanse of the sky, and our eyes were shining like the sun, the moon and the stars, we could not sufficiently give thanks to thee. For the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and multitudes of kindnesses you have done for our fathers and for us, we could not sufficiently give thanks to thee. We could not sufficiently give thanks to thee. We could not sufficiently give thanks to thee. We could not sufficiently give even if our hands were spread out as the eagle's wings, and our feet were nimble as the deer, tripping on the mountains, we could not sufficiently give thanks to thee. Thousands and multitudes of kindnesses you have done for our fathers and for us, we could not sufficiently, we could not sufficiently, we could not sufficiently give thanks. Therefore these limbs you carved out for us, the spirit and soul you breathed into us, the tongues that you placed in our mouths, these will give thanks, bless, acclaim, glorify, lift up, sanctify and enthrone your name. The breath of every living thing will bless your name. The breath of every living thing will bless your name. The breath of every living thing will bless your name. Nishmat Kol Hai.
How about that? How about coming back and remembering to turn the microphone on? What I was starting to say was, hello to my favorite 15 people in the whole world. 17? Wow. Hello. Barnabas, how you doing? I'm so proud of you guys. You know, when I think about the people that I get to minister to, I think about how faithful you are, and other, you know, in kind of in contrast to different people who are dealing in different ways with the situations we're in right now. I think, wow, you know, when I talk to this tribe, will they even, you know, is there really anything I can offer? I'm not sure I can offer a whole lot because you're already strong, you're already standing. Holy smokes, Larry, you're showing up every day. Lisa, you're showing up. Maggie, you're showing up. Salt and Light Unite, you are showing up. And you're standing on the word, and you're sharing things, and you're in conversation, and you're in telegram rooms, and you're praying and holding your own. So it kind of feels redundant to come and try to offer anything, except for I got a painting I have to finish, and we have things that have to be brought forth, right? Because we are standing and imagining and calling things into the present, calling things to life. So I'm not going to quit. Why would I quit? You guys don't quit. So I had a really interesting week in Florida, and just sort of a pivot. Why? Gosh, you know, God just looks like he's picking us up and giving us a greater reach into another state, which is kind of interesting. And there were a lot of disorienting things this week. And, well, I thank you, Wonder Warrior. Tell that to my husband. He probably agrees with you. It just depends on the day. But laugh. Hello. So, and we had some things happen in our town that were discouraging and upsetting, and had to really rethink some strategies, some stuff, and how on the local impact thing. And it's an interesting destabilizing time, do you not think? And but I'll tell you, every day somehow we manage to pull it together and continue to move forward. And I love that about you guys, and I love that that's what we're doing. And so I have this idea, this painting, you know, in the darkness and all that creativity. And here we've got this quill pen. And what I see around it is swirling words right now. And I don't know what it's going to happen. And it seems like a better artist would be able to maybe create a really cool whirlwind or something, you know, that could be just, you know, where you could feel the mist coming off the canvas or something. Somebody who really knows how to paint could probably do something like that. But, you know, guys, so much of what we learn in Fear-Free Living is just being present with where you are at any given moment and saying, this is enough. This is what I have. This is what I'm going to share. And this is what God is asking of me, is to show up in all of my weakness, all of my fear, my lack of expertise, my expertise, whatever it is. The deepest fear we have is that when we show up, that we'll be rejected, that when people see who we really are and what we're really dealing with, that we'll be shamed, and it will feel like death, and we'll want to just go and curl up in a hole somewhere because the risk is too much. And so part of what we learn to do is to show up right as we are, warts and all. And that is one of the most powerful strategies for living fear-free, is just being where you are in any given day with all the things that comprise your life and your strength, and comprise your process, and where you are in the growth curve, and showing up and saying, this is it. I don't have a fake me to defend. I don't need you to think I'd like you to think good things. But in the end, I'm going to just, this is it. And when you can get to the point where you can go, this is it, it's so freeing, because the enemy has so much less he can hold over your head. I wrote this song, You Are Loved, and it says, when you're utterly loved, there's so little to lose. Because when you show up and you can allow yourself to be loved in your weakness, right? And so here's a canvas. I kind of like it. I mean, if you could see, we've got some texturizing here. If you can see that. No, you probably can't. There are swirls in the darkness that have a lot of energy. And then this beautiful feather pen here. But so I'm showing up in weakness. All I had was an idea where I'm breaking down some words here. No eye, no ear, no mind, no heart, no one, no heart is perceived, has seen, has heard, has whatever. And they're swirling around, and I don't even know whether I can turn them into a beautiful, misty whirlwind, or whether the words themselves need to just be out there floating in the environment. I don't know whether, I mean, the script is certainly weird and not very uniform and difficult, but it felt like today I was just supposed to show up and be here with you guys and to give you courage to show up too where you're at. And to and I learned a few things from my son on this trip. And he was reminding me, because of some of the input he's getting, that when most people say the reason why we can't do something, it's because we lack resource. We don't have money, we don't have the right body, we're not the right age, we don't have enough people, we don't have a media that supports the truth, we don't have this, we don't have this, we don't have this, we don't have this. And that's usually the number one reason why we feel like we failed or we can't get to where we've got to go. And he pointed out to me through something that he's really been blessed by, that it's not a question of resource, it's a question of resourcefulness. Because people who are resourceful will find a way to show up anyway, twice as much and 3 times on Sunday, based on their own resourcefulness. And what is our greatest resourcefulness? The resurrection life of Christ. Resurrection thinking, where we think like people who rise from the dead every day. And boy, if you see me waking up in the morning, it's kind of like a resurrection. And so we want to not focus on what we don't have resource-wise. We want to become resourceful. Resourceful to me is someone who can look at all the options and say, well, that's closed, that closed, that's closed, that's closed. But that little idea over there, no one's leveraging that. What if I do that? What if I go around all the things that are shut? What if I go around the limitations that have been set for me and I've simply accepted? And I come up with a no eye, no ear has seen strategy. No one's done it this way before. You know, it's like the people who invented Home Shopping Network. There was a time when nobody had done that before, and everybody thought it was a stupid idea, and everybody thought that it wouldn't go, right? And somebody was resourceful enough to say, no, I think if we take this idea and some of this and some of this, and if I work really hard and I do what's not expected of me, and I come out with something that is unframed, unimagined, unperceived, not seen, not heard, not done yet, you know what? We just might be able to beat this system. We might be able to beat this lack of resource with our resourcefulness. And if you guys ever saw the movie Joy, it was about the lady who invented the squeezy mop, the mop that rings. And she had zero resource, but a ton of resourcefulness, so resourceful. She couldn't be stopped, and then she actually connected with the Home Shopping Network people, and wound up to really have a slam dunk, a big hit, a big home run type of thing. And so this idea, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has perceived, maybe no heart has imagined, no one has thought of, no one can even wrap their mind around, is the idea, what God has prepared for those who love him. And it's interesting because in the first part of the Bible, where this shows up in Isaiah, it said, it's very short. No eye has seen, no ear has heard. A God who acts for those who wait for him. It's pretty short. But you get to 1 Corinthians, now they've expanded it. Now the prophetic revelation is coming on this scripture. And then now it's no eye can see, no ear can hear, no mind is perceived. There's and it's opening up. They're like, nobody's really thinking like this. Nobody's really doing that. And fear-free living is based on the idea that you have not yet imagined all the ways it's possible for you to be free and for me to be free. And simply by stepping into that we're able to access that and bring that into reality. Boy, there are options for us. There are ways to get free. There are ways to win that nobody's even thought about yet. This is what I was thinking about. It's okay to be underestimated. It's okay, and in fact, strategic. Oh, I'm so glad, Faith Gal. You want to see it a little better? It's just black, and there's big swirls here. And I feel like there should be a lot of moving something, misty something, but I really don't know, how to do it. So you noticed when I was putting the script in that I was wiping it off too, because if it wasn't looking good, I don't know. But have you noticed sometimes it's the imperfect. That's right. Oh, death, where's your sting? It's the imperfect stuff, like imperfect script somehow that will work in a given setting. It shouldn't be like, this idea shouldn't be a perfectly crafted calligraphy piece. That's not how I'm imagining it. But in any event, what I'm saying is that the whole idea of strategy is, and Sun Tzu and all this stuff we're learning that we can learn in the spirit about how to live fear-free, is go ahead. Let the enemy underestimate you. Go ahead. He's expecting you to keep eating the same stuff he's been feeding you for years. The people in your life are kind of expecting you to be the way you always were. The enemies of patriotism are expecting us to go away. When there's a sacrifice on the chessboard, or when there's a strategy in battle where you outsmart your enemy, you're giving them misperception. The main thing is we don't want the misperception in here. We want to go, wow, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has perceived, no heart has imagined, no one has really grasped what's possible. What God has prepared for those who love him. It's prepared. It's ready. There's something set. There's a table waiting. There's something that is moving into the atmosphere. And the original verse in Isaiah, it says, "For God does rejoice in meeting him who rejoices in righteousness." So there's this sense where he's already moving toward us, right? He's moving toward us with his answers. And part of being fear-free is moving out of that feeling we have at any given time that we don't have enough. We don't have enough people. We don't have enough patriots and true blue activists. We don't have enough connection on internet now, or we don't have enough platform space, or enough video outreach, or a big enough e-list, or we don't have enough honest courts, and we certainly don't have an honest media. So that leaves us feeling it's like so much lack, and it's lack and smallness that creates that feeling of intimidation, right? And so this verse here reminds us to move out of focus on resource and move into resourcefulness. That idea of resourcefulness is seeing what no one else sees in a situation. It's seeing what's possible in a way no one thought of it before. And again, I've told you guys this a number of times recently. My son Christian, who is 24, was my engineer kid, and he was also really kinesthetic and tactile. So he'd be the kid, if we had candles at the table, he'd be playing with the wax and getting it all over the place, and he'd have to take things apart, or tearing the napkin into little pieces, or anything that involved movement, physics, and just seeing what he could, blowing things up just to see how they work, right? Very, very creative. And it took my friend Tina to say, he's testing the mechanical limits of everything in his environment, right? I wanted to just, let him have it, knock him out. Sit still, be good, stop it. Why is it everything I put out, you have to take apart? Well, I watched this kid be so resourceful when I would tell him stop wiggling, and he would go like this. I'm not wiggling, I'm bouncing. Stop bouncing. I'm not bouncing, I'm swaying. Stop swaying. Not swaying, I'm twisting. And then you go, well, stop tapping. I'm not tapping, Mom, I'm drumming. And he had that constant, what has limited me so that therefore I become the possibility thinker in the room. And this is this idea. There are things we can't see. There are things that right before us feel like closed doors. Slammed even in our faces. A seat at the table, a voice in certain arenas, honest elections, free speech without being bullied. All these kinds of things that feel like, and then you have them in your own life, where you feel pressured to do something, you don't want to do it, it's not, and you feel in lack and fear and intimidation. And I think the Lord is saying to us, stop and think about what you haven't seen yet and what's possible because of this, in spite of this, what's unfolding in a way that it never could have if not for. And so I thought to myself this week over a situation that really bummed me out. You guys know I've got some projects here locally I've been excited about. Well, it sort of felt like because of a series of things that somebody, I was building a sandcastle, and some big bully came and knocked it over. You get that feeling, you just go, It brought up old thinking. It brought up old memories of feeling small and feeling defeated. And my son challenged me, made me mad because I'm like, dude, I'm a positive person. I don't sit around and whine. And he was talking to me kind of like I was a whiner. Mom, you really got to knock that off. And I was thinking, what? And the only thing I think of now is that if you decide to be an overcomer, people will begin to expect that of you, and you'll have to show up that way even when you just want to have a moment. And your kid, this is all I want to tell you, one of the things about becoming fear-free and strong is that you're going to train the people around you to expect that of you. And when you feel like you just need to have a moment, they may not be the ones who let you have it. They might be like, shut up, Mom, you're the one with the fear-free living thing, so just stop it right now. I think you need to grow up. So I had that conversation with my son, and I was mad. I was like, dude, I am the positive chick in the room. I'm always, so why are you handing this back to me? And he was like, oh, okay. So, I got a little bit of a hug out of it. But then he pivoted and said, Mom, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. What I want you to hear, and he played me something from somebody I don't really normally dig, per se. And I really thought this key was essential. And we obviously have all the resources of heaven. So we know that we do. We actually don't lack resource. We have all the resources of heaven. But let's just be honest about what we see manifesting around us and what is limited, even for a season, by this world and these constraints and this season and this plan and this awakening places limitations on us, especially relating to time. And so let's assume that we feel constrained. And the Bible talks about being perplexed but not brokenhearted, and being constrained but not stopped, and being troubled but not destroyed. That's another one. I need to look that verse up. And so let's think about what no one's thought possible right now. No one in our family, in our relationships. There's some gloating maybe going on. There's some classic warfare that in the situation we're in, I've had to go, well, there that is again. There's that thing that manifests in our community. Wow, they really pulled out all the stops. The bullies are out in force. Different things are going on, and all of a sudden I could think, but you know what? Instead, that's going to make me very resourceful. I may not be able to. I feel like I lack resource because I can't control certain things, but I am resourceful. And think about it. That is a biblical word, isn't it? Because we're full of heaven's resource. And what's heaven's number one resource? I think is creativity. Because creativity is the ability to take something and make something new. Or God originally taking nothing and making something out of it, right? And so heaven's resourcefulness is the idea of creating something new out of what wasn't there or needs to be recreated or renovated. So we may lack what seems like resource in this life momentarily, but we have resourcefulness, which is creativity, which is based on a totally different source. So I was about ready to, just want to throw in the towel and feel really sad and bummed out. My little sandcastle got kicked over. And then I thought about it. I thought, wait a minute, what is no one expecting? What's possible in that? And I began to ask the Lord, what's possible in this season of limitation? What's possible in this darkness? What's possible in the situations that bring up old tapes where I tend to go, oh no, here we are again. Feeling small, feeling insignificant, feeling unable to make a change. And it's this: no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has perceived, maybe no heart has imagined, no one has grasped what the Lord has prepared. And one of the things he prepares is you and me to do stuff no one expects us to do. And to show up in ways that, yes, frankly, highlight our weakness, our messiness, our lack of whatever it is. But the fact that we show up becomes part of that surprise ending no one expects, right? So one of the tips for fear-free living is to determine that you're not going to leave the field, that you're going to show up in some way. And yes, it always represents risk. You're going to show up. You're going to do something that represents risk to you, but you're going to be willing to do it in weakness and exactly where you are in the process of becoming and changing and growing, knowing that you have that new man in Christ, right? The new creature that he's created in you, and you're living out of that, right? That's resource. Christ in you, the hope of glory. That's resourcefulness, right? And out of that, to do things that are completely unexpected in any given moment. I have to work on it. I mean, yesterday I got Karen'd over the mask thing. Some lady yelled at me, "Where's your mask?" And I made a decision that one of my resourceful positions was going to be to completely disregard stupidity. And so somebody was yelling at me, and I just, focus, 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 focus. Because my resource at that point was the reality that didn't deserve my attention. That I don't have to talk to crazy. And I don't have to engage with, I don't have to use my energy that way. I can focus on what I walked in there to do. And let that reveal its own limitations, its own weakness. Whereas before, do you see how that's not a defensive position? One of the things that's hard is to jump into a defensive position where you're defending your choices and defending who you are, defending why you're doing something differently. But to move and to say, I don't even need to defend myself. I came in here to do this. So it moved me to resource and to leaving somebody to their own ridiculousness in front of others, yelling to this, to the ability to know on a deeper level, I know who I am, I know where I came, I know why I'm here, I know why I don't need to engage you. Boom. Small. That's very small. The other thing is the other thing is sometimes you'll feel baited into like, oh my gosh, if I don't do all these things, the world won't be a safe place, or I have to do this to save the world, and I have to make it a better place. I have to all this, right? And I was feeling that because I grew up being the kid that tried to make everything safe and tried to be a negotiator because things weren't safe in my family. So when it comes to certain issues that come up culturally and someone has a call to action, where I tend to jump into this, oh my gosh, I should be the one who runs to fix this, and I should be the defender, and I should be the speaker, and I should be the and that's an interesting place to be, because what do I always tell you? Do something that scares you. So I don't like some of those environments. I don't want to do some of those things. And so I took it to the Lord. Lord, I will, and here's my commitment. I will do that which makes me uncomfortable. I absolutely will. But is this the most important discomfortable thing that I could be doing as opposed to this one over here? Is there one that activates my gifting and your calling in me in a way that's more important and significant than just simply jumping to stick my finger in the dike? Right? Because there's two kinds of avoidance and anxiety. There's the kind it comes on you and you feel, oh my gosh, I have to do something. Somebody better fix this. This is wrong. I've got to fix it. Oh my gosh, it's on my shoulders. I'm the one, So we could say, I'm going to do something that scares me by running into that, but because I got to do it. I got to fix it. And pat yourself on the back because that was your scary thing you did. Possibly. Or to say, Lord, yeah, that isn't really my thing. I really don't want to do it. Yes, even thinking about it kind of makes me uncomfortable. But I don't want to run from it. If that's the best use of my time, I will do that. If, however, there's something more resourceful, more creative, and more effective that doesn't involve me having to play in that playground, I'd like to do that. I'd like to find a different way. I'd like to find a no eye is seen, no ear is heard, no heart is perceived idea and go around where the battlefield appears to be unfolding and maybe sneak up on the enemy. And both things do require discomfort and risk to one degree or another. So I think it's good, fear-free living, that when you're making your choice to do things that are uncomfortable, you're aware of God may give you an even smarter way to do it than you might be used to doing. Okay? Just a thought. All right. Well, you guys, we're working on it. It's unfolding. Hang in there. We are the resourceful ones. We're the people who right now get to do things, the pivoting people who get to do things no one expects us to do. Surprising, loving, calming, confronting, activating, energizing, maybe kick-butting, right? And that's where we are right now because, God loves that element of surprise. And it's going to unfold in our country, and it can unfold right in the midst of the things He's calling you to overcome and calling me to overcome and get done. So that's my thought. So when you're picking something to do that scares you, ask God for the most effective and resourceful thing. And I will see you tomorrow.